them in a release, and we release usually every other Wednesday or Thursday, depending on the app stores. Right. So we're in sprint 113 right now. And I want to tell you a little bit of what we're working on. Number one is we are starting to do a lot of bug fixing. You're going to hear me say a lot of that. So while we realize that we have worked and we have brought a lot of different features in Fanbase, and we still need to bring a lot of different features in Fanbase, we still have a lot of work to do. We decided to take, I wouldn't say a pause, but we decided to slow down a little bit so we can speed up in the near future. So what we're going to be doing, and you're going to hear a lot from me, is we're going to be doing a lot of ironing out. We have a lot of issues, nothing showstopper, but we do have several issues here and there that we're going to be focusing on. And our goal is to try to iron out as much as possible. For those that know technology and know development, bugs are always going to be there. What we're doing from our side is not only to fix them, but also we're improving our practices, we're improving our architecture, we're improving automation as well, and we're improving even the way we test things. So while that will continue, it happens to every social media platform. If you talk to anyone that works in Meta, anyone that works in TikTok, Snapchat, they'll talk about bugs, right? In fact, statistically, if it hasn't changed, maybe it has changed with technology and AI, but it used to be back in the day for one bug that you solve, you have a statistically chance of inducing up to 8 more, right? It might be 1 to 4, but again, it all to me, I'm a big believer of practices, automation, architecture. And sometimes those things are not flashy things, that you're like, but at the end of the day, the user experience is composed of everything, right? Not only the features, not only the UX, UI, but also all these small things that might, bother you here and there. All right. So in Sprint 113, we're starting to do some bug fixing, and you're going to see that in the next at least 2 to 3 sprints, we're going to be doing a lot of bug fixing, and we're going to try to speed. We're growing the team. Everywhere. For those that don't know, Fanbase is headquartered in Atlanta, but we also have offices in other areas in the world. We are actually starting to hire both locally in the US as well, and as well in other parts of the world. And again, I'm a big believer that it's not a question of throwing people, but rather have the right framework and practices. So then when you bring the right people, you can really start running. All right. So with that said, we're going to start doing some DM bug fixing, some of the things that were left from last release on the UX UI side. A lot of times when we release things and there is a new version of operating system, it's a tough task, because a lot of times operating systems brings things that at the time of the sprint or the release might not be considered. So we definitely have a few things on the latest iOS 18 version that we noticed, and we're going to be fixing those, and then we'll continue doing bug fixing across the entire app as well. If you have already reported any issues in the past, everything stays documented, so don't worry. We're actually going to be taking care of, even if it's been a while. But if you haven't, I encourage everyone to shake your phone or even email us at support@fanbase.app, because this is the perfect time for us to consider. And again, we have 6 content formats, 6 kind of worlds by itself. So, what might happen to someone might not happen to another one, and so on. So all I ask from you guys is please continue sharing feedback, and we'll be taking care of that. The other thing that we're going to be releasing, which I'm super, super excited about, is we've been working a lot on moderation systems. Moderation is a very broad word. When you talk about moderation, it doesn't necessarily mean a negative connotation. It can also be a positive thing. A lot of times you're moderating content to feature, but a lot of times you're moderating content to make sure that you keep the environment healthy, and the community healthy as well, right? So there's several things we've been working on, and I wanted to spend some time on this. Number one, hopefully you're realizing already, we still have some work to do. We released last week a new moderation system we put together to start fighting some of those bots. As we grow, and as people are hearing about Fanbase, it's normal to start seeing bots, fake accounts, and so on. So we have started working on a new model for that. We launched it last week. We're testing it, we're piloting, we're already seeing working very well. Now, once in a while, there might be a false positive out there, right? The model might not be 100% perfect, but we're perfecting it. And we're very excited about the future for that because, what we're aiming at is a true organic, healthy community environment where you're not getting spam all the time. If for some reason you're still seeing them, which might be out there, I ask you um, for to please report them because of the moderation system will also have variables from the reporting system that we have. So when you report it, the system will look at it and then will determine if it's indeed a fake account or a bot or not. Okay. So that's number one. That's one layer of moderation. The other layer of moderation is when it comes to explicit content, right? Again, with growth come also growing pains. And as we grew, as we got these 8 million pieces of content, there's also a lot of content that is explicit and it violates our terms of services. And again, don't forget that Fanbase is not just one vertical, one content format. We have 6 different content formats. So moderation has to happen across the entire platform. And as such, we've been working for a very long time and we partner with one of the top enterprise moderation systems that we're going to be integrating and that's going to be helping Fanbase. We're going to be launching it in pilot next week. So you are going to start seeing a big difference in there. And again, moderation is not always a negative connotation, even though we're going to start with explicit content or content that violates terms of services. We're also going to be using to understand the great content that is out there as well. All right. And there's a million things that we have in the roadmap for moderation, but moderation is very vital, and we think it's a very important piece of any platform, and we need to get that out there before we can continue with everything else. All right. So moderations are something exciting that the team has been working on, and we're going to be releasing the bot moderation is already been released and is being piloted, and the other moderation system is being released next week. All right, and again, just like always, you're gonna hear from me next Thursday. So when you see me or when you hear me, I want to hear from you. I'm here to see what's working, what's not working. At the end of the day, I always say this when they ask me the question. So what's your belief on the perfect moderation system, even if it's an algorithm system where they're very similar? There are a set of rules, if you think about it, that takes actions, right? You define rules and then it takes action. So when someone asks me that, I say, to me, the perfect combination is number one, having a very robust and trained model. So automation, right? That's number one. Number two is you need human intervention. To me, there's no such thing as perfect moderation with automation and nothing else. You need human intervention. Otherwise, then all the shadow banning happening and all the things that other platforms have. Number three, we are also relying on you guys. So the community crowdsourcing, the moderation is a big, big belief. We have really, really great users that really want the best for Fanbase, and they're constantly saying, "Hey, I saw this here, I see this there. This is not right." And believe it or not, you're part of that system as well. So thank you for that, but I encourage you to keep continuing doing that. All right. So remember those 3 things, and Fanbase will always try to do the best to get those 3 things right for moderation. All right. I'm going to go through a few more and then I'm going to take a break and see if you have any questions. I'm sure there's going to be other things, some questions on the chat. The other thing that we are working on, and we're hoping to be able to release, some of you will get excited about it. As you know, we release the Was Live. Was Live is basically a recording of your live, right? And as part of that, we added what we call a scrubber. A scrubber is basically a control down below that allows you to decide if you want to skip part of the video, if you want to go forward, if you want to go backwards. We call that scrubber, right? Every team gives a name to the feature. So even though was live had a scrubber already, we're going to be bringing that scrubber. We actually improved it, and we're bringing that scrubber into Flix. Okay, one of the things we've been hearing with especially with the TikTok migration, is the chance of being able to potentially, go forward and go backwards in the Flix video as well. Especially as in the future, we might entertain increasing the size or the time frames of Flix as well. I know a lot of you have been asking about that for a while. All right, but a new scrubber is coming for Flix, and you're going to see it improving the WOS Live as well. We also have a few web increments that are coming. We're going to continue that doing every sprint. Web are in charge of improving the conversion rate. So when users get into your profile or into content in web, how can we get them into the app for a best experience? So the web team is focused entirely on that as well. And of course, they'll also do some bug fixing as well on web, as the rest of the team focuses on that as well. Okay. So that's sprint 113 again. If everything goes well, we're gonna have a release mid next week, maybe at the end of next week. So I hope you're excited as we are. Sometimes things might get delayed because of the store, or sometimes things might get delayed because we realize that there's a few bugs we still want to iron out. And when we do that, then we'll be ready to go. All right. So with that said, I'm gonna stay a little bit quiet, and I want to hear from you and see what's going on the chat room, and then we'll jump into some questions and some other things that are coming up. All right. Let's go through the chat. I love some of you guys are listening from work. I love that, guys. And you can open the Fanbase audio on web as well and listen from there without having the app as well. Let me see. The more you report, the better. It is true, because that's what fits the our model, right? And we're better than the users to fit it. So definitely. Fake profiles are the worst. I will say something that we mentioned on Tuesday in our Tuesday town hall with Isaac, and it's important. Again, as we grow, we are going to have all these things happening. But as we are raising money in Start Engine, there's also been an increasing amount of fake profiles for Isaac, for example, and fake requests. So we're tackling all of that as well. Again, we're going to get better and better, but just have in mind that Isaac will never ask you directly for any donation or anything. That does not exist and will never exist. Any type of investment that you want to do, you must do it, and you can only do it through startengine.com/fanbase. All right. So I know you guys probably heard that, but it hasn't hurt to repeat it again. Okay. All right. Well, if you've seen the still fake profiles, please report them. Let me see. Hey, Rama, it's Jojo. I send you a DM. So something important. I am a big believer of staying close to you guys, to the users, right? And that's why I'm doing this every Thursday. It's a way for me to stay connected to the users, to listen to you, listen your pain points, listen your ideas, and for you to hear directly from me as well. One thing that it's not going to be scalable is for me to receive issues through DM. Nothing. I mean, there's a lot that I can do, but not at that level. The best way you can help Fanbase grow, the best way and quickest way that you can help resolve those bugs is shaking your phone. You heard me right. Shake your phone or email at support@fanbase.app, because that goes into our ticketing system. It gets formalized. It gives us technical data so we can take care of things. If you tell me, hey, I have this issue, guess what I'll have to do? Number one is I'm going to have to ask you 100 questions, because I can't go hunting without having the clue where, what the issue is. So the best way to report is shake your phone, email support@fanbase.app, give as much information as possible. When you shake your phone, you can even record your phone as well. It's all anonymous, so don't worry. But that's the way to do it, right? If you send me a DM, again, not that I don't care about you guys, it's just I get so many DMs, and that's not the right way to scale and grow this platform, all right? So Jojo, please check your phone. And if you have done so, don't worry. I promise you the tech support team will get back to you. Thank you. Um, Let me see. Is the unlock subscription issue fixed? I sent a ticket. Joyce, I'm not sure. I'll reach out to support tomorrow. I'll ask them. Again, we have a backlog of issues. Everything that got reported, if it's something that tech support can solve and it's indeed a bug that has been recreated, we always try to recreate bugs. That's number one thing that we do, because if we don't understand the bug, we can fix it. But if it has been recreated and it's a bug, it's probably in the backlog and it's going to be taken care of with the next sprints. Okay, but I'll follow up on that and I'll let you guys know. All right. All right. What's up, Toyota? Happy Thursday. Um, okay. I think I heard from Team Joyce about it. So we'll definitely, one of the things that we're doing, again, giving visibility, transparency, how development works. And again, every company does it differently. There's different tools, different practices. But the what we do when we prioritize bug is we have several ways. We look at the effort that it takes. We look at how showstopper it is, right? You can prioritize a bug that suddenly says, hey, the button has the wrong color or it has the wrong size versus, hey, I cannot unlock. That's revenue that a creator is losing, right? That's a priority one. And we also look at what kind of element inside the app is affecting. Revenue elements have a higher priority than, for example, something that might happen in a caption in a profile, right? So if indeed it's an issue, for example, with unlocking exclusive rooms, just without knowing more information, I know that that's something related to revenue to creators, which is the number one priority. We want you guys to get paid. So we're probably going to start tackling that very, very soon. All right. All right. And what else? What else we have? Aida, if you want to upload your profile, go to your profile, tap on your profile image, and you'll be able to do it. If you go to settings, so go to your profile, go to settings, and then there you're going to be able to upload your profile image. So I definitely encourage everyone that is new to Fanbase to do the first thing you do is doing that. Is there a way to reply directly to users coming here in the chat? Not yet. Another thing that we are going to start doing soon is consolidating and simplifying the platform. Again, as we grow, simplifying a platform does not necessarily means removing things. It means standardizing things. So for example, if you really think about it, the channel that we are in today is not very different from comments that you might have on a post. So there's a lot of elements that they have same sub elements and they actually play the same role in a different environment. So a good practice from an architectural standpoint is how can you simplify all of that so when you're addressing something or you're adding a feature, you're doing it once, you don't have to do it 6 times. So going back to your question about replying to a comment, right now it's not possible. We have talked about the feature. In fact, we have created a user story. But once we iron out any outstanding issues with comments, and then we want to simplify that layer of the platform, then we're going to definitely going to be adding so you can do that. A lot of times we don't want to keep adding features until we get everything else right, because if not, what you do is you keep adding layers on top of something that might not be as solid as we want. But we'll do it because I see the value. I'm a fan-based user. A lot of times I'm like, man, I wish I could just, do that directly. Okay. All right. All right. What else? What else? I will say this is not a comment or a question, but I want to help. We have some great ambassadors in here. Some of them do onboarding. So if you're a new user, you can see in the chat room, Joyce Marie is doing an onboarding. So she can show you how to use Fanbase and how to make the best out of the platform. All right. All right. All right. Marshall, I'll take questions. You want to come up and come to the stage? I'll bring you to the stage. So let me ask you, word limit here in the chat. I have my say on the word limitation, but what would you like to be the word limitation in the chat? Just curious. Again, sometimes it's the outweigh between user preference and user experience. So there's a lot of consideration sometimes in small things like that. All right. Let's see. I'll wait for that answer. In the meantime, someone asked, where are we with having dual labs in app sharing? We're not far. And to be honest, it's not hard. But again, we're going to take a little pause and slow down a little bit so we can start addressing a lot of these different issues that we have. And we're hoping to do those fairly quickly. I will, you know, we're going to be challenging the team. Let's say it that way. And I'm hopeful that we're obviously getting close to Q2, but I'm hoping in Q2 we're going to be able to start uh, bringing some of these features that we've been talking about. Duets in flicks, even duets in lives, and so on. All right. Let me see. All right. What else? Dan Marie. Well, I mentioned it earlier. In the development world, no matter what the platform is, you will always have bugs. Statistically, I mean, I'm gonna play it very conservative. I say one for every solution, you might induce eight more. Let's say 1 to 4. Especially in a platform like Fanbase Labs, we get better with practices, automation, architecture, and how we work, and also how we simplify the platform. You're gonna start seeing less than that. It's normal. We're trying to reduce them and do our best, of course. So our promise is that we're gonna continue improving. 300 characters. Interesting. Okay, I'll take it. Yeah. Joyce, that's a very good point. Device specific, especially in Android. Android's a different monster. Um, you have more than 20,000 different Android devices out there. And one of the things that we're going to formalize as well, guys, believe me, we would love to be able to support every single iPhone and every single Android. It's not scalable. And we got to focus on the majority of our user base and the majority of the industry, the target audience that we're trying to bring into Fanbase as well. So for us to say, hey, we support iPhone 7s or Samsung's S12, it's just not realistic, and we will be wasting money from investors that we shouldn't, right? So one of the things we're going to be doing is we're going to be formalizing the support model of how many devices. We obviously wanted to be, very sensitive of going as much back as we can, but definitely in Android, we're not going to be able to cover 20,000 devices at all. In average in the industry, usually you go back as far as like 5 versions, if so, of the models. Okay, and again, it keeps progressing. So for us, it's not only bringing features and fixing issues. Is as the operating systems keeps changing, we got to adjust to that as well. So that's another consideration we have. A perfect example that I will say is, I don't know if you guys remember, some of you had issues on iOS 16. At the time, we didn't know it would only happen on iOS 16, okay? That you would give a lab and he would consider that lab as a big lab. And that was an iOS um, issue that was deprecated on iOS 16, and we were not aware. And then what's happening to those that had older devices, right? We fixed that by removing Big Love on iOS 16. But again, if you think about iOS 16 is pretty far behind, right? We're iOS 18. So that's a perfect example how it's not only about the model, it's also about the operating system and how that might interfere with the way you build up. Again, the better architectures you build, the more scalable, the less those things will happen, but it will still happen regardless. All right. All right. Let's see what else we have here in the chat. Someone said, question about going live on web-based, fan-based through third-party desktops, so like OBS. Yeah, we call that RTMP. We started working with RTMP late last year. It's a big feature. It involves a lot of thought process, and it's gonna come. We know we must bring that, and we have some proof of concepts around Fanbase Plus, which is also on desktop as well. The new live infrastructure that we brought and we actually developed mid last year actually is ready for RTMP. But you don't only need the technology layer, you also need how you're going to present that to the user and how you're going to be able to allow the user to engage and monetize as well. And those are the things that we still need to work on. And we're gonna get there. We're growing our product team so we can move quicker, and hopefully that will help us to start refining and bringing those as well. But RTMP will be part of Fanbase for sure. All right. All right. All right. Let's see what else we have. Oh, my audio is getting cut. Well, yeah, I'm in the middle of the mountains, by the way, guys. So if you see my audio might be getting cut, is because the Wi-Fi is not very good. So I apologize for that. I have all high bars, so I'll try to speak slow. All right. All right. Let's bring Marshall up. Marshall, make sure you behave, okay? Last time I brought someone here, but I know you. I know you're gonna behave. What's
Oh,
going on,
you know I'm
Marshall?
going to behave. You know I'm
I
going to
know.
behave. How you doing,
I
Rama? Thank you.
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, I just wanted to follow up on something that I'm working through with Joaquin in tech support. My wife sent me a screenshot of a duplicate martial artistry profile last night. So both of us shook our phones. We've been in contact with tech support. I'm just wondering because I know that you're navigating this with some other creators on platform, including Isaac. Is there a timeline for the resolution, or is there anything that I can do to speed that process along so that it doesn't have an impact on our business?
Yeah. Yeah, well, the timeline is it's a fairly easy solution, so we can take care of that today. So I'm glad you brought it. That's actually good news for you because that means that you're starting to be noticed. But yeah, there's we can take care of that today because it's an issue. Once we can prove that it's actually a fake profile, and we do that, we can do it fairly quickly, so don't worry about it. The thing with, I know you've been speaking to Joaquin in tech support. There is a process, right? So he gets the tickets, he shares that with the team that is handling the moderation and training the model as well. And a lot of times, rather than just go ahead and just ban it right away, we're trying to understand patterns, right? Because what we want is not just to solve your problem, but we want to learn from your problem to solve other people's problem as well. Make sense? So maybe that's why it took a little bit longer, but we can take care of that today.
No problem. And like I said, I understand both sides of that coin where it's like, hey, I know you guys are trying to resolve it, but I also know that you guys are trying to fix it for others. I just wanted to kind of check in and see, is there a normal timeline for something like that? And yes, it is. It's a bittersweet kind of a feeling where it's like, yes, I'm being recognized. And yes, as a creator and as a business, that's great. But it also is a little concerning
Yeah,
that there is someone that is able to both duplicate the cover art, the profile image, and I see that their links don't work, but if they were able to make those links work, that would be very concerning. So I very
yeah.
much appreciate you taking my question. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I will say as well that beyond the moderation and how good the model is, there's a lot of other things that we're doing and we're going to be doing that will help with that as well. I mentioned that we are working on SSO. Well, I didn't mention it to you guys, so sorry for that. But we have SSO, which is basically being able to sign up and sign in through Google and Apple as well. So as we improve our sign up and sign in process, those things will start filtering out bad actors as well. We have another roadmap that we're going to go beyond just SSO, and as we get better and better, those things will be least frequent. But again, it happens to every platform. I mean, those that use X or even Meta, existed, but this helps us. So I appreciate you coming up and sharing that. All right.
You're the man, Rama. I appreciate you as always. I'll take myself to the basement so you can keep doing your thing. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Let's see what else we have on the chat room. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay. Uh-oh, inflation killed Team Android. All right, we don't have anything else. So let's talk a little bit about some of the other things that we're working on the sprint as well. I mentioned I focus entirely on what is tentative for the release next week. Again, I always say tentative because if it's not 100% ready, we might choose to wait a few days. But definitely that's tentative. But we're also working on other things. We are going to start doing a lot of A/B testing, right? We are going to, as part of simplifying the platform as well, we're going to be improving the UX UI of the platform. We're going to be improving first experiences of the platform as well. And the best way to do that is to do some A/B testing. There's no one that can really help you shape the right flow for a user than the user itself. No matter how much vision you have, no matter how much you know your users. So A/B testing is going to start being a big part of Fanbase. Every company out there does A/B testing. Of course, we do A/B testing at our speed and in quantities that our structure allows us. But as we grow and as we get better in development, I'm hoping to be able to see more of A/B testing out there. All right. The initial A/B testings are going to be done on initial screens of UX UI and also first experiences. So don't freak out or don't get too excited because you might like it. If you see something changing one day, another day not changing, we're just doing A/B testing and getting data from you. Okay. All right. What else we have there? Let's see. We are actually we're going to start working on a big improvement for the user search. Actually, search across the entire platform. Um, as you know, the user search is not ideal. And one of the great things about Fanbase is building community. And the great thing to build community is actually allowing users to easily connect to allied creators, allied supporters, or even people close to you through the first, second, or third level relationships, right? So I'm very excited because we've done some business refining and initial UX refining on the user search and the search overall, because this applies to the search overall, even content search in the future. But we're going to be working on that. And I'm going to transition into an important topic that I wanted to bring here today. As you know, in January, we had what I call the telenovela TikTok ban, right? TikTok shut down for less than 24 hours, it was very telenovela. Then they came back. But they came back because the current president gave them a 90-day extension, right? Now, that extension is going to be expiring on April 5th, all right? So my question to you is, number one, while I continue talking, I want you to tell me what you think is going to happen on April 5th. Will it shut down again? You think it's going to go away? You think nothing will happen? I want to hear from you and see what you think. But what I'm trying to get to the point in January is we learned a lot. We learned a lot of what things work, what things didn't work, what users that were coming from a platform like TikTok were doing in a platform like Fanbase. And the first thing that users in TikTok or users that came from TikTok were doing is they were going straight to the search for two reasons. Number one, they wanted to connect to users. And obviously, if the experience wasn't ideal, we're losing opportunity to really help everyone build community. And number two, they were searching for content, right? We all know that TikTok has a very robust algorithm that have been working for many years and billions of dollars. But again, those are all learnings. And as we approach a potential second opportunity wave, we're learning and we want to take action. And again, we've been taking action since January. We've been improving the architecture, the infrastructure. So a lot of things that happen in January, we don't expect them to happen again in April if it happens. So again, I'm mentioning this because it's part of the user search or the search overall. And as we continue improving that, that's going to help us in moments like this. All right. So with that said, let's go and chit chat. I want to see what you think. What do you think is going to happen with TikTok, guys? Let me see. I see Tim saying SSO just slows down bots. It doesn't prevent it. It is, but you know what? Something's slowing down. You know what that gives us, Tim? Gives us time. And time is of the essence. So I'll take slow down as a start as we continue. All right, let's see. I like that what you said there. Most social platforms use fake accounts to present false analytics. I love that. It is true. I don't know what platform it was. Isaac and I couldn't believe it. It was a platform that raised close to $100 million, and they found out that all their stats were all fake bots. Crazy, right? Um, Someone said, "I think they're gonna keep extending until they figure it out." It could be. Do you think it's strange that Instagram is coming with a separate application for Reels? I don't know. Something is going on, guys. Someone said yes, and extended until the US portion is purchased. I agree. I mean, Reddit, I love Reddit. Reddit might have the answer, right? There's so much stuff in Reddit in there. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are going on in the background that we might not be aware. But regardless, you know what January also proven, guys, is that there's a need, there's a void, and uh, creators and users are looking for an alternative, right? But we still have a lot to work on here in Fanbase. We know and we work towards being that alternative, right? So the need is there, and we know it, and that's what gets us excited, because no matter if they're going to extend it, no matter if it's going to happen in September and October, if it never happens, we know that eventually Fanbase is going to be the downstream platform where they're going to be, and that's what we work hard every day to achieve, right? So, all right. Well, inflation killer, I like that. That helps us. About 200. Okay, that's a lot. Well, the best way you can do is just report it, please, and just say such as that. All we need to know is that you have a lot of bot followers, and we can take a look at that. They might be stale from some bands that might not have removed them, but please, please, please report it. All right, let me see what else we have. We have a lot in the roadmap. But I don't want to go too far because really we're really focused on covering some of the basics. Um, so I don't want to get you guys too excited. You will have to be patient with me. I know you're used to Rama coming here and saying, "Hey, we have a new feature, watch party. Hey, we have a new feature, exclusive live streams," which I love doing. Believe me, guys, I love it. But now it's time to take Fanbase to the next level. And take it to the next level is making Fanbase scalable in a way that might not be sexy yet, might not be at flashy yet, but it will be. And when it is we're gonna be flying. We were flying before this, so I can't imagine how flying after this. All right, so I'm gonna keep the rest of the roadmap for later on, so I don't get your too excited. We're gonna do it regardless, but you know. All right. Let's see. From a broad and tech perspective, what's the best way to take advantage of the Fanbase algorithm and really increase community? Good question. So if you were here on Tuesday, Isaac always has what we call it's a 9 basic steps that you can take in Fanbase, right? And sometimes taking the basic steps does a lot. So being active in the community has a meaning to the platform and will have even a stronger meaning in the future. So examples, if you have a profile that doesn't have a profile image, that by itself has an indirect and direct outcome to how you build community in Fanbase. So number one, create your profile, make sure it's full, it's accurate, make sure your picture is there. It represents who you are as a creator, or even if you don't consider yourself as a creator, how it represents yourself, right? Um, then number two is if you have Instagram or TikTok, you can migrate easily through Fanbase. Hopefully most of you know about that, but if not, you can go to settings, and on your profile settings, you can seamlessly migrate up to 1,000 pieces of content from TikTok and Instagram. By doing that, not only you have a complete real profile, but you also have content that can monetize from day one. All it takes is from anyone to see one piece of content. And the other thing is that content is being, as you create content, Fanbase is an interest-driven community, a common interest, right? So if you're someone, for example, that you are into cooking, right, and a lot of your content that you import is a lot of food, those that are interested in food content or in cooking content will be closer to that content. They will see it. They will see it as recommended. They might see it on dynamic search and so on. So bringing content and creating content initially. Number one is bringing content. We're trying to make that easy for you and seamless. We don't want you to burn out just when you get to Fanbase. We want you to be excited about Fanbase. But creating content in Fanbase is as, if not more important than migrating content, because we want you to experience the content creation in Fanbase, regardless if it still needs to be improved or not. And we want native content in Fanbase. So that by itself also puts you closer to building even bigger community, not only migrating, by creating content. But let's say that you want to create content, you don't feel like, but the one content format or vertical that has proven to help build community is Fanbase Audio. Okay, is our most active one, or one of the most active. Flix is pretty active as well. So you going in audio and even listening, you don't have to necessarily participate or anything like that. That can really help you build community, and you can, connect with people. We used to have, I still remember, and I don't know if you still do it, but we used to have audio rooms that would be open just for users to know each other. There wasn't a lot said. They would just connect and follow content and so on. So audio is pretty powerful. And then if you are a content creator, if you consider yourself a content creator, be consistent. Consistency is key. I know it's not easy. I know it's like sometimes like, oh, I'm gonna create content, but consistency is key because you'll be surprised. Some people will eventually not only love your content and you make money, but they'll subscribe to you. And the second you subscribe to you, you have someone that is willing to pay for constant content, regardless if it's an exclusive audio room, exclusive live stream, or exclusive media post or Fanbase Plus. So consistency will take you there. Okay. Um, Another thing that I forgot that is very, very important is it has been statistically proven in Fanbase that when you actually use a link aggregator like Linktree, for example, and you put your Fanbase profile or even a piece of content from Fanbase in there, and you promote on other socials, we've seen people putting the Fanbase link on their TikTok bio, and they've got thousands of people downstreaming into Fanbase. So if you haven't done that, that's a no-brainer. And again, a lot of times you build community by bringing your community over to Fanbase, not necessarily just by finding people that are already in Fanbase, right? So you're part of helping grow Fanbase and grow your community as well. So that's another way. All right. Now, I know I didn't go into the technical part of it, but all of those variables have an incidence on how the algorithm tries to put or help you build community as well. True, genuine, interest-driven relationship, either through content or through content creators. All right. All right. Let's see. Hopefully, I answer your question there. And it's a long-winded one. Don't worry. Even if you end up giving, I see some. Even if you end up giving laughs to bots, don't worry, they won't get that money. You're welcome. I'm glad I answered your question. All right, guys. I'm going to. I don't see a lot of new questions, and I'm going to start a little bit sooner than usual, just because I have people here waiting. I'm so you guys know I'm running a race on Saturday. It's a quadrathlon. I'm doing swimming, kayaking, biking, and running. I know. Who says Rama? Why do you get into that? But I did, and I'm a committed person. So Saturday I'm going to be running. And that's why I'm here down south. I'm in Patagonia. I'm gonna be running in the mountains. I'm gonna try to get some content so I can share with you guys. But I still wanted to be here because I love being here, listening from you guys, and giving you transparency of where we are and where we're heading as well. All right. So brief summary: we are in the middle of sprint 113. We have a release next week. It's gonna bring some DM bug fixing. We're going to be bringing a big moderation change. So you're going to start seeing better content out there starting next week. We're going to be bringing a scrubber, what we call a scrubber, which is a control of the videos for both Was Live and Flix as well. And we're going to continue doing bug fixing and some web increments as well. That will definitely, at the end of the day, our goal is to help the creator get closer to the minimum threshold, which is now $5. All right. And everything that we do is geared towards that. Um, I also talked about bug fixing and simplifying the platform, improving the architecture, bringing automation, and that will actually improve the quality and the experience inside Fanbase. And we're going to be heavily focusing on that in the next couple months. And once we go through that, again, bug fixing will be an ever-going thing. It's going to happen all the time. We're going to go back and start bringing some of those great features that we've been talking about, and I know you want in there. All right. Um, Last thing I wanted to share is don't forget that we are in the middle of the race. We're making great progress. We're past $10 million. When $17 million hits, the race is over. So if you haven't invested in Fanbase, you still have a chance if you go to startengine.com/fanbase. You still have time. We would love for you to be part of not only our amazing user base, but also have ownership in Fanbase, because we're going to take this to the sky and we're going to do everything we can to make this a success for everyone. All right. With that said, I want to say thanks, everyone. I'll be here again next Thursday. I'll be back in Atlanta next Thursday. I'm going to do a watch party so you'll be able to see me. And we're going to be answering any questions you might have and continue improving Fanbase's experience. With that said, we're going to, I'm going to leave you with our brand, our Fanbase promise, really what we stand for, what we believe. And we try to bring that with every single thing that we do in Fanbase. Every line of code, every email that we send, everything. So I'm gonna put that video as a watch party for you to see if you haven't seen it, and then we'll close the room. So thank you so much, guys. Hope you have a great rest of the week, and we'll be talking next Thursday. Here comes the Founders Promise.
There you go. See you next Thursday. Au revoir. Tout à l'heure.